Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen up. Today we're going to be talking about the one and only Kaspa. Now, look, this is just a comment I want to address, right? And then we're going to go into the technical analysis, right? So this guy, this Max guy, he says, besides Cas, which shitcoin has the most annoying fan base? Which is crazy to call, Kaspa a shitcoin. And, I've seen a few people actually, try to dunk on Kaspa, which doesn't make sense. I think, you know what it is? I think people are just ignorant, arrogant, and absolutely brain dead, which is why they get the results they get, to be honest, right? Because the reality is, ladies and gentlemen, Kaspa fundamentally is, a top 10, top 15 coin, and that's still taking things very lightly, right? That's, not to cause too much debate, which I don't really care about debating whether this coin is this good or that good or that good. I'm here for the money. And yeah, I will be putting money into projects that are very, very promising, have a lot of upside potential, risk to reward looks great. And Kaspa falls under that category very, very easily, in my opinion. Okay. That's just how I see it. Right. But yeah, look, people are funny. People always hate on a coin. No matter what coin it is, you will either see scam, this coin is trash, it's going to the ground, it's dumping. I don't know what goes behind people's minds when they say this. I don't know if they genuinely mean it. I don't know if it's because they think, they're going to call all the coins bad except their coins and it's going to, affect the markets. If you think that way, I promise you have zero influence over the market. And that's just the reality, right? That is just the reality. Anyways, let's jump into the price action. So this is what I had drawn up last time. And, we pretty much almost hit the spot, right? We almost hit the spot because, after this bounce from 9.2 cents, we did expect some type of pullback, right? And we said the maximum it should really pull back is down to roughly this 8-cent zone. Well, why this zone? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we can see that we have been creating multiple zones over the last couple of weeks, right? We can see this very clearly as well over here. Boom, right? We can see that practically from June 23rd all the way to, July 8th, July 9th, we were just kind of ranging between the prices of 7.3 cents and 8 cents, right? Creating a type of range. We broke out from this range and then we went right away flying to the next top of a range, which was down to 9.2 cents. And, obviously, I expected some type of rejection initially, unless, of course, it pulled a turbo, which turbo blasted like 60% in a single day, which is why I'm super high on turbo. But that's a discussion for another video. But yeah, look, right, we pretty much came out of this zone over here, touched the top of this zone of 9.2 cents, and it was bound to, go back and retest. And pretty much that's what we did, right? We didn't necessarily touch this green line of 8 cents, but we did pull back a lot. And we are consistently on the 4-hour time frame creating higher lows, right? We have a low over here. We have a higher low over here. We have a higher low over here, right? And even though we are, also technically creating lower highs, right? We have a low here, lower high. And, depending on how this candle closes, this could count as a lower high here. I still expect overall for us to be bursting to the upside. Okay. I still expect that. I am still overall bullish on crypto. I'm still overall bullish on Bitcoin. And I am most certainly bullish on something like Kaspa. Okay. For me, Kaspa being 8 cents is a joke, right? It is a joke in terms of what Kaspa is going to do in the future, right? We go and look at Kaspa, we see we are ranked 43rd in the world. Like I said, 8.5 cents, practically 2.27 billion market cap, 100 million volume. And we can see we're still not listed on the biggest exchanges, right? There's discussion about this before, but, supposedly those exchanges want a lot of the coins and Kaspa's like, no. And, I think those exchanges will eventually compromise because the reality is, whether or not those exchanges ever admit it, Kaspa is bigger and will be bigger than those exchanges, right? And that is just the truth, right? We can see there's some type of flag over here. Oh, L1 speed upgrade to 10 BPS, aka 100 millisecond block time. Oh yeah, well, obviously that was great, right? That was a big, huge stepping stone. If you guys are not familiar, Caspa practically pack-a-punched and became 10 times the coin it's going to become, right? It was at 1 BPS, then it became 10 BPS. Eventually, it's going to be at 100 BPS, and then eventually it's going to be at 250 BPS. BPS is blocks per second, okay? Blocks per second. So this is a scaling coin. So what I'm saying, this is a scaling coin. This is a coin that you cannot ignore, in the future. Sure, some people might brush it off now. They might, feel a little cool, a little bit like this, a little bit like that. By the end of the day, this is a coin that will be in the spotlight one way or another, whether it's this year, whether it's next year, whether it's in 5 years, it will have its time to shine, which is why I'm super, super high on this coin. Overall, I expect for us to kind of be, going lower and lower, just slightly, right? Slightly before we have to make a decision. You know, it's either going to be like this where we come back down and we burst straight up, or there might be a little bit of a fake out first. And then, ladies and gentlemen, I expect for us to go straight up. Now, I will say, ladies and gentlemen, that Bitcoin is taking an absolute dump, right? We went from 123,000 back to 116,500. And those candles do not look good right now. I'll be honest, they do not look the best, right? There is a little bit of potential for it to start going sideways and then going up. But as of right now, it does not look too healthy. But, the thing is, altcoins are generally holding, right? They are generally holding. That's because Bitcoin dominance is also dropping, right? Bitcoin dominance is also dropping. So, it is helping the case for like Kaspa, for other coins. And yeah, even some coins are green, some coins are green. But overall, I kind of expect it to be like this, right? I kind of expect for us to have another wave of, fundamental sideways movement until we break out. Here's the deal, people, right? We are close. We are close to the big pumps. When I mean close, I mean a few short months. And it really is close, especially if you've been investing, since 2022, 2023, even sometime in 2024, like 3 to 5 more months maximum really is close. The reason why these coins are looking very fundamental and why I think Kaspa will continue to trade fundamentally and slowly to the upside is because it does not want to come back to this price point until bear season. Okay, when you see price start to shoot up rapidly, go, 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 usually there's some type of, energy match on the other side, right? Something pops up very quickly and then it dumps quickly. Here, when it's fundamental and slow, right, it does everything it needs to do. It fills up every single gap it needs to fill up. Then, ladies and gentlemen, that is when it is going to prepare for the big bang, right? Over the next few short weeks, I overall expect Kaspa to be, making its way back up, but slowly and fundamentally. Sure, it can still have a day or two or whatever where it kind of bursts up, but overall, I kind of expect this coin to just go fundamentally up back to 20 cents. I think once we get to around 20 cents is when things are really going to accelerate. Because here's the reality, people, right? Here is the reality. When we take even for something like this to something like this, right? When we eventually get all of this price action, right? When we get all of this price action, no matter what it is, right? Boom, bang, boom, it doesn't really matter what it is now, right? This is all going to count as accumulation, as sideways movement for us to really explode, okay? And if you know anything, accumulation, right? When something starts accumulating, that's the reason why it can explode. So think about it. Imagine sideways movement since late 2023 up until maybe, late 2025. That's going to be 2 years of sideways movement. So I believe Kaspa, once this thing starts going, it's going to burst to the upside very heavily and very aggressively. But yeah, ultimately, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys did enjoy. Let me know where you think Kaspa is going to be, over the next month, the next 3 months, and, overall in the next couple of years. Love you guys so much, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.